While I'm setting this up, then, can you explain to people like the grind? For those that don't know what actually goes into streaming and like all that stuff, can you explain to these people like your typical work day?
My day?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
from
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, actually, that's pretty good for the interview as well, if you want me to include that.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be scuffed, and good luck to my editor, but here we are.
Um, well, it's sort of weird because my day starts with the other day. So like you have to kind of realize that something has happened. Like it's not like I clock in and this is the start of something. I'm continuing something that happened the night before. So with that in mind, my day starts with like I'll wake up and I'll have to sometimes if I don't get the video, like if I'm uploading the video late, I'll wake up and I'll put the thumbnail in the morning and stuff for videos. But
Like
most
me
of the
this
time
morning.
I'm
Got
talking,
you, got you.
yeah, like this morning, um, where I have to put the thumbnail in and make sure all the descriptions are there, make sure I'm crediting anybody that I need to on the videos. And then for quite a few hours, like 3 to 4, maybe even 6, I'll do map making. And then if I have time, I'll stream while I can do some of that stuff. Some of the stuff I can't really do because I'm gonna be going through certain files and I don't really want to have to deal with the desktop view and stuff. And then I gotta find a way to record a video at some point. At most days, I try to find at least some time to record something. And then I stream, sometimes playing Rocket League, sometimes, doing other stuff for content since I do daily videos just like Lawler does. And um, then I have to, send the video over to Danny. And then making the maps is just a whole process that it really is like a fine art at this point. If you don't know what you're doing, I mean, you can't. It's hard to teach somebody how to make a map because there's just so many little intricate things that I learn over the way, like over the time. So that's most of my time is making maps and stuff. But usually my days are around like 14 to 16 hours long, I would say.
Never ends, man.
Yep.
Never ends. What also doesn't end is where the heck is this dang green rectangle?
Like today, like my sister works for me now,
Yeah, you,
and
you said you
she
were like
gets.
teaching her how to like edit and stuff, yeah?
Well, yeah, she knows how to do 3D modeling stuff. She's learning Blender, and she's already pretty good at it. In the first week, she's done a lot with that, like that hide and seek house and stuff. But like she got here at 10 a.m. this morning, and I slept in until like 11 or 12. But she just does her thing. She takes one of my old videos, makes a TikTok of it, posts at 12, like at noon, that my video's out. So I have to give her the thumbnail, and then so my editor is coordinated with her as well, and she stays for 6 hours. She does a 6 hour day, and for now, and then once she knows what she's doing, she can work from home and stuff.
Yeah, chat, like if you guys don't understand, like even though and this is kind of the crazy thing about like just YouTube and stuff in general, is there is obviously the appeal of being your own boss and controlling your hours and actually enjoying what you do, and it's not the 9 to 5. But for anybody who thinks it's not work, and for those that don't get to really see what goes on behind the camera, it just never stops.
It never
And
stops. You never stop living it. That's the biggest problem. Like it's a pro and a con. Like obviously I love my job and it's really fun and it's different, and because of the maps I make, like it's always a different environment. It's not like I'm playing ranked every day and just kind of doing my thing. I get to express creativity. Same with your videos too. Like you always come up with something new to talk about and stuff, which is refreshing.
mhm.
Um and yeah, it is a lot of work. Uh yeah,
have
there's
you
not much
have you
more to say.
ever have you ever gotten to the point yet where like you're like, crap, what video do I make? Because I know,
All the
like,
time.
I mean, you've
All
got
the time.
like 40 billion like maps in the background that you still have to make, but like, yeah, you just have to like find the time to start making that. But still, like, I'm sure every day there comes a point where you're just like, shoot, what do I put out for tomorrow? Because I know you're still doing dailies. Like, what's how many days have you hit for dailies? Do you know right now? Like, what's your record right now?
Um, I don't know the exact number, but I
It's
know
it's
it's
300
like over.
plus.
It's more than a year. I think it's around like probably 500 days around there.
So chat, think about that. For anybody who's watching, whether you're on YouTube or if you're here live in chat, for every day for the past 500 days, Lethamyr has most likely done some sort of creating a map, making a video, editing that video. And it has an editor now because in the beginning you did it. You did it all
Oh yeah,
yourself.
so he's been doing it for about 6 months,
Right.
and that's been way better for me. But
Yeah.
also, I just use that time to
Now you just stream instead. Like it's
either
not like
that
you
or I just make more. I just make more. Yeah, I make more
you just
YouTube.
work on maps longer. Like that's
more maps. Yeah.
it's not like you're allocating that time to be like, okay, I'm gonna spend more time with my significant other. I'm not gonna relax. I'm not gonna take the time off. I'm going to put it back into the other things because I know you're well aware, just like I am, that the more effort you put in, the better it is long term. And case in point, I remember when you and I had this conversation when you were first starting about how like it's a grind. I hate it. It's not worth it right now. But you've stuck with it, and now you're over 500,000. Like, what's your count now? You're over 500,000. Like,
Yeah, like
you're not doing bad.
Yeah.
Like we've
2.5
talked.
weeks ago, I was at 500,000. I'm at 565,000 now.
That's
So
so
it's
crazy, dude.
like it's accelerating and it is really very exciting. You have to stay on top of it though. You
Yeah,
cannot get complacent.
yeah.
And
I watch a podcast called Trash Taste. It's like three dudes who live in Japan that talk about like anime and stuff, and they
yeah,
talk about how like you have to be prepared to dedicate to it full time and like to the full degree full time. You have to put everything else on hold, social life, you name it, and you just have to grind. And every YouTuber does it, where you just grind for a year or two, and there's a good chance that if you hit like 100K subs, you're doing something right, and you can turn it into a career.
yeah.
But like you have to be willing to sacrifice so much to make it happen. I get a lot of flack from friends and family and stuff like, you need to take time off. It's like, I can't, because if I do, the algorithm goes, well, and then it's done. Like you lose that traction you gain. So it like sucks, but it's like the payoff long term, you know?
Like, cause I can't even fathom trying to do every other day now, because I'd be so scared that YouTube goes, oh, this guy stopped uploading the way that he usually does, which means, oh, maybe he's not doing it as much. So let's give the advertisement and other people more exposure. So I'm like, I feel like I'm getting to the point where most people know me, but still 70% of the people that watch my videos every day are because of recommendations. So it's not really like something I can switch up and feel confident that I won't screw myself over. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably the same with you, right? You probably feel like it would be
Dude,
kind of dangerous.
it's tough, right? Because like my like whole New Year resolution, because after casting for 4 years and never being home, never seeing my friends, like I was always on the road or doing replay analysis and prepping for the next event, right?
Yeah.
So the beginning of this year, I had to do some like inner self looking of what do I want to do? Where am I going to trend to? I've built up like a little bit of a nest egg. So like I'm comfortable and I can try things before I'm like, oh crap, go back to a 9 to 5 and really struggle. So the two things that I decided is like, I still want to make content. I still want to be involved with the Rocket League scene. And I think I have enough connections to where I can start doing stuff. Like the ESPN thing has been in works for a very long time. So kind of talking with them to get that kind of ball rolling. And then obviously the other thing was I need to take more time for myself mentally. Like I have to dedicate times to where I just don't. So like Tuesday, no matter what, even if I feel like I'm missing out, because like, you know, just as well as I do, like you don't stream for a day or two and it's like there goes 40, 50, 60 subs. And it's like stuff you don't really want to care about because, you know, if you're doing something right, they should come back. But it's still like I want to continue to progress forward and achieve those goals. Tuesday is my day off of stream, no matter what. No matter what's going on, I always take that day off. Yes, I'll spend that extra time, like just like you are. It's like, hey, you have an editor now, but now you're putting it back into your videos. You know, Tuesday I'm just trying to get ahead on other projects or, you know, creating more YouTube videos. So I have a little bit of a breather coming up. And then Sunday is like Sunday night, every night, no matter what, even though like it's going to make work suck more. I'm watching the football game with friends, but when I come home, like I'm grinding until like 2, 3 in the morning to get a video out for the next day. And it's like, yeah, Monday sucks because of it, but for my own mental, I have to do that stuff, you know?
Yeah, and like for me, where I have a significant other, Shannon and I like
Way
need
to
time.
rub it in. Thanks, man.
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying in my situation,
I'm kidding,
like
dude.
if you had a significant other
Yeah.
at the moment, you would feel the same way, right? Where
Oh, yeah.
It's not like, and I think a big thing that we've not struggled with, but I'm sure relationships always get in those situations where, your job forces you in situations where you need to be able to balance it, but sometimes it's very, very difficult. And I just need to set a time aside, like you said, to spend time with Shannon. But at the same time, no one wants to feel like you're just doing it because you have to. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain, but basically, like there was a time where she would feel like, oh, you're you would probably rather be working. I was like, no, that's not the case. But like, it just feels that way to people outside of, like, even someone who's, super close to me. It's hard to see like why this job does that to you
Hmm.
unless you're living it. I think that's what I'm trying to say is like you're constantly involved in the Rocket League scene and the community that you almost like start to separate reality. I sometimes forget that reality even exists. Like it's kind of weird. I'm sure you've
Yeah, I
had
mean,
that
you
feeling.
live in your bubble, man. Like you completely forget that there's other things going on, like other people's lives that you impact. Especially you with having the significant other. Like, that's stuff that they rely on you for. You guys bought a house, you live together. Like that completely changes, and you have to figure out like how to balance not only what you're doing because you are trying to grind and get ahead, and they obviously and luckily I assume your significant other supports you in that fact and
Yeah,
understands that, but
yeah,
at the same time like you don't want to take it for granted. So there's definitely that balancing aspect of it because I know plenty of like really big YouTubers like TP from Optic when he became a coach and stuff and then started streaming. Guy now pulls
yep.
like 15,000 subs. Like for him, that transition of into that, he's well aware that he needs to grind to get to that moment, but also trying to balance like I have a wife, I have, these types of things that I have expectations of on me was something that even he, had to adjust to, but that compromise and understanding like setting a time frame and it's
It's tough.
it's tough, man. It's
It is
not
tough.
an easy situation to be along with. So this has probably been the longest intro to an interview I've ever had, but it's been a good one. And I think this is how you and I get. Anytime we sit and talk, it's just tangents, and that's what makes for really good organic conversation. So I think we're
I mean,
gonna,
if we have a takeaway, like I mean,
yeah,
it's just like if you want to get into this kind of thing, I think for like even for me, even when I had a very very advantageous position to get into content and stuff through
mm-hmm,
my esports, I still treated this as a fun alternative and not as a job. And not once did I ever think, well, like down the line, obviously when I was starting to like feel like content was more of something I'd wanted to do,
mm-hmm,
but you need to make sure you're covered financially before you like take this from being a hobby to actually like a career.
right.
And you should never like jump into this if you don't already financially cover yourself at least 70% of the way through YouTube, I would say.
Yeah, 100%, man. It was the exact same thing for me. Is like, even though I had a good 9 to 5 job, I was able to stay part time there because I was making good money, and that's what allowed me to start casting.
Yep.
You have to find a way to balance it out, and I guess that's the biggest thing to wrap this all up before we get into the stuff that we were originally going to talk about. Is I advocate to anybody and have said this in previous videos. If you have the opportunity to do something that you're passionate about, and you want to give yourself that opportunity to turn a hobby into a career,
Yep.
you need to allocate and find time to do that. Even if you have to take sacrifices everywhere, if it means a little bit less sleep or whatever it is, you need to put yourself in a
Oh,
position
sleep.
that, yeah, what is
What
that,
is
right?
that?
Right. But you need to find ways to give yourself that opportunity in the first place,
Yep.
because if you don't, like, it's never to come to fruition. So sacrifices have to be made, man. Like, it's similar stories to literally everybody that's quote unquote made it in the industry or does YouTube or whatever else. And I'm far from both sides of that. So,
I
well,
mean, yeah, like
humble beginnings, man.
it was a rough 2018 like when I was doing videos and esports like I was editing like you were like up until like 4 a.m. and it does take a toll on you, but it's worth the grind at the
Yep.
end of the day. So
You hope. Because there's
you
also the
hope
harsh reality of like sometimes it just isn't
it
going
just
to happen. Yep.
won't happen. Yeah, exactly.
But shoot, man, I think that's a great way to segue into it. Is, I mean, obviously you talked about, um, you had something a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, you were a professional esports player for quite a while. You played on multiple rosters and had some pretty good success making it to world championships and everything else. We don't need to talk about what happened there, but
Yeah.
but the benefit and the thing I talked about years ago in 2017 was the ability to that level of exposure and that level of eyes on you can lead into opportunities and kind of give you that leg up. You transition that leg up from pro to content creator very well, right? So I guess for you, early adoption of that, what was going through your head where you decided to take that commitment? Was it a immediate change? Was it a slow? I know you've said to me in the past that it was like something you've considered, but it wasn't something that you fully dedicated to it. When in your mind did you decide like, yes, I'm committing to being a content creator? Like, what was it that pushed you over the edge?
Well, there's a lot of factors for sure. Like the reason why I got into YouTube was a few people said that like you should definitely be using your opportunity as a pro because I've always been more outspoken. I think it's
Hmm.
just from my age. Same with like you know what I mean. Like it's just when you're older, you
Oh yeah,
just
I'm a
kind of
boomer for
speak
the
your
team. I
mind.
get it.
Yeah, yeah. Like we're both boomers as far as like Rocket League goes, and um, being outspoken and trying to be personable and talk with as many people as you can. A lot of them did reach out and say, "Hey, you should try jumping into YouTube." So I did give it a try, and I was like, I don't even know where to start. I've never touched video editing. It always looked crazy hard to me.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't really know where to start, but I started with Floomp and doing a 1v1, and my mic was trash. I mean, everyone starts off with like equipment that isn't
I just upgraded
optimal.
my camera, man. The whew.
Yeah, it's just like you almost like realize like what was I even doing?
Yep.
And I've definitely taken some investments as far as like YouTube, but I'm getting off track here. Like I basically after I reached a point where I've been to a world championship, my name's been out there. I was like, you know what? I'm wasting my time if I don't try to jump in and make some content. And at the start, I took an inspiration from Squishy's YouTube where he plays ranked and because pro level is something to be aspired by a lot of people, I felt like that was a great way to do it. Even though I was like technically just doing the same thing he was with a very much lower viewer base, you have to start somewhere.
Hmm.
And I kind of just stayed loyal to the viewers that stayed with me and watched me and I knew starting off that I wanted to create a community, not just some people who come and see you and go, okay, thanks for letting me use you for your information. So I created a Discord really early, and the response I got back and forth from even my early videos made me feel like, okay, actually, I feel rewarded from this. So let's start to do this a little more, like more often and stuff. And obviously, we don't need to go into all the details, but a lot of people did accuse me of spending too much time on my content or even map making after I got to like I think I started making maps around like what I think we both agreed was around like 40 or
Yeah.
50K. And people were like, "Oh, he spends all his time making maps and not like playing competitive," which wasn't true. It just my free time was my map making. So that's kind of what it was. And I think that once I started creating stuff, and I always created stuff in Minecraft and other things like that. I realized,
Yeah, I know you had some
hey,
like Counter Strike background for map making too.
yeah, that's like yeah, Hammer. Like when I started that stuff, I was like, hey, you know what? I've got a little community started. Um, People might be interested in what I'm making here, so let's give it a shot. And I kept going, and then that was when I realized, you know what? I'm starting to get really good at this map making thing. That's when I started because I think I made yeah, it was when I hit 100,000 subscribers when I was gone. In I think it was Germany. I can't remember which one it was. It was either Germany or Spain. Uh,
Don't forget, Chad. He was also coaching Mouse at this point too, when some of this stuff was happening.
not no no, I wasn't yet.
That
I
was
wasn't
right
yet.
before that, I think.
Yeah, it was right before
But
because it was
like,
right. I coached Mouth after, and I was helping Flipside at some point. Like I was just basically I just so I was sort of like a yes man, like Jim Carrey style.
yeah,
Just if someone asked me if I wanted to be on an interview or a podcast, hell yeah, let's
yep,
do it. And that's basically the method that I think you need. Like you said, sacrifice some sleep for getting yourself out there. And so yeah, I think it was Spain because Shannon wasn't with us on that trip, and I hit 100,000 subscribers. And on the trip, on my downtime, I was using my laptop to design shipment for Rocket League, like shipment Call of Duty map.
right, right.
And that was what like that one. I was like, holy crap, I can get to some really detailed maps and like create some really crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, you were hype about it, and you're like, this is gonna be so cool. And then YouTube Gaming, promoted it too. I think Keemstar said something about it as well, and it's like, even though whether you agree with their ideology, the way they present themselves, like without a doubt, obviously Keem has built himself a very big platform. Even I think he's not the greatest person in the world. Um, but to have that notoriety, pay attention to the things that you physically put out. Like I did like a video about just like upcoming Halloween stuff or something for like free to play or whatever.
Yeah,
And like YouTube Gaming is just like, yep, you if you want to know something, this is where you're gonna check it out. And it's just like that confirmation without like it's not like I had to go to YouTube Gaming and be like, hey, promote this for me. It's like they just did it on their own.
yeah. I
It
think
should it's
you
that
got noticed
affirmation like
basically.
I'm doing something right. And it's just I think that's probably from what it feels like mentality wise really kind of was that shot put for you to next step. like it's time to really go in on it. And when you commit to something, it's scary what you can accomplish. Being completely honest, you look at these maps, dude, and it's just mind boggling what you've been able to create
I
on your
appreciate
own,
it, man.
like
Well,
legitimately.
as you're talking about that, I'm just sharing my screen. Um, like I basically this table didn't exist before before our conversation started, but that's what I've been working on. This is the last room of Among Us that I have to finish.
Let me see if I can
Um,
show the stream. Yeah, so for those that don't know, this has been an ongoing project. You've hired people to make things work as
yeah.
if we're actually playing the game. And like, guys, he's doing an interview with me, still having a good conversation, providing stellar feedback, and at the exact same time is also still editing and making a map in an editor for Rocket. Like,
This is what I've been creating, this little table here. So I just designed the shape of it, and I'm in the middle of like finishing off. I'm gonna make that 3D hologram. Like, so
mm-hmm.
I don't think I have my thing up right now,
Don't leak anything
but yeah.
now.
Oh, I'm not gonna show anything. But this, like, I gotta create like a hologram of that map,
Mm-hmm.
like floating above the table. I think it'll be really cool. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to do that right
Especially if
now.
you're
But
driving by it, that'd be sick.
yeah, so like I don't know, I'm just always working on stuff, just thinking of stuff. Like when I'm like sleeping, I'm dreaming of whatever next to do. You know what I mean? Like I like to have at least 8 maps going at once. So if I lose creativity in one, or just like I don't have any, like it's basically like I get writer's block all the time in map making, like mapper's block. I don't know what you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
but for me to lose the ability to move forward or push forward in one map, I just go to another one, like where I do have a thought where I can move forward. So, with Among Us, obviously, I have some deadlines. There's an event that's coming up that I can't talk about, that wants to use this as like the all-star event. So, like, I do have some deadlines, and it's kind of cool that my job has got to the point where people are interested in what I'm doing and they want me to create stuff for certain events. Like, I'm also creating a Christmas village, which is nowhere near anywhere yet, but I'm hoping to get this done before the start of December, so we can start, using all these assets with like a city and like snow and ice and basically move through a town while racing and stuff. Anyway, we're off topic, but
It's nothing new, man. It's just how it goes.
yeah, this is how it is.
It's wild, man. But like that's the grind. Like the things that people don't get to hear or see or know about behind the scenes is like it's just constantly one after another. And like obviously like some of my mods in chat know, and I kind of tell them every once in a while just so they can stay up to date on things. But it's like when I tell or when I come into stream, it's like, yeah, I've got a couple projects I'm working on. Oh, I've had meetings for this and that or another. It's like it's constantly going because you have to. It's how you stay relevant. So
Yep.
it's
You can
nuts,
easily
dude.
fall off, and I'm not gonna obviously name anybody, but like people, we've seen it firsthand in Rocket League, and Rocket League wasn't a very popular game for a while. And when you do get popularity in a niche game, you have to stay there,
Mm-hmm.
and it does take a lot of work, and it's not for everybody for sure. You have to be personable, you have to be hardworking, you have to be constantly on top of it, or else you'll fall behind, and that's the idea. Is just I was I was told by Flume early on not to look at the real time analytics on YouTube, but oh my, that is a daily experience for me.
Yep.
Like
No
just
thanks. Hard pass.
oh, you don't look
Hard
at it?
pass. Nope. I try. I
Mm.
mean, I look at certain things here and there, but my brain can't handle that on
Oh
a daily
yeah, I'm
basis.
actually I'm emotionally invested in how a video does
Mm-hmm.
now. So like if I get a 10 out of 10, which by the way 10 out of 10 means the worst of the last 10,
Yep.
it just actually affects me, which is not good, but it's hard not to let it when it's your job.
Right.
It's like you're pitching an idea or you're selling a product and you come up with this new product like the iPhone 12 and it does the worst sales out of anything. It's hard to not lose confidence as a company when you've put so much effort into like a product basically. And my maps and videos are products at the end of the
How
day.
would
Like
would you allocate like your Rocket League Pro career as like a product? Like when you compartmentalize it, is it just like one chapter of like your like how would you allocate that to yourself personally?
um not sure I exactly understand the question, but I think you're saying like how much do I use that as part of my career total? Like, how did I get
Yeah,
here?
yeah. I mean, like, so when I like for me, casting was even though it's something I still love, and I'm lucky that I still am able to do it, whether it be for Rocket League or otherwise. To me, it's still gonna be a passion thing, and I will always love to do it. Right.
Right.
So for me, even though my I guess RLCS casting career is essentially wrapped up, like I
Yeah.
don't foresee myself ever going back to the RLCS to cast, due to a whole plethora of reasons that either a will never that opportunity will never come again or otherwise. To me, it's just like a stepping stone into the next thing. Do you view I guess this is the way I can ask it. Do you view like your pro career as a chapter that you've closed and that you're moving on from, or do you view it as like, it was a thing to get me to where I am now? Like, how do you personally view it? I guess.
I think it's both. Like, I mean, as you would know, when you're in an open, it's basically open source. Like,
Mhm.
it is what it is. Like, it is what you make it of. Like, when you're making a career out of this, you use every connection possible, whether it be your own connections through what you've done or through different things that you've done, like jobs. Um, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now because of the fact, like, because I think the map, like, I'm like, there was a time where my YouTube was like, oh, this guy makes maps, but I know him because of esports.
Right.
But I feel like nowadays it's like, oh, this I know this guy because he's a map maker and he's a YouTuber, but it's cool that he used to do pro. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's transitioned. And my whole idea was I knew a long time before I even started playing the game competitively that um you should never look at esports as the final stage. It's always the start.
Smart
And
man.
the people that are smart about their esports career will jump into content
Have to.
of some sort. Look at Shroud, right?
Gotta
He's
transcend it,
he's
man.
probably the poster child of how to be successful through an esport.
He's also
Um,
like a human aimbot, so that like helps.
oh yeah,
But yeah, he's kind of
I
a
mean,
freak.
like I'm not trying to ego myself, but like if you think of like aimbot, right? Like pros who are like super. I'm not mechanical by any means, but I've kept myself to that level at least a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where people I try to capture and I definitely practice to keep that level too because I know there are some viewers who come to watch higher level mechanics in unique environments. And it's the same reason why people watch Shroud, right? Like he's not a pro anymore, but it's like, oh, I want to see this guy play this new game, destroy all these newbies because he's a name botter in any game he plays, right? So
True.
that's where
True.
a lot of his viewers are. Like they watch him for his skill, and I think that it's definitely smart to invest in practice, even if you're not a pro anymore, like a titled pro through RLCS.
Well, I mean, because you are still, I guess, high level, and I guess because I don't want to take up too much of your time, it's already been.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
happy to chat. It's
yeah,
been good.
I know, but YouTube videos can only be so long, right? Um, or maybe not, But it's more of the fact that you still, and many have seen that you still are fully capable of playing at a very high level. I know you say you're not the most mechanical, and I know you're probably comparing yourself to like the Justins and the guys are just freaks, but like
Yeah.
you still can do what you want with the ball when you feel like it. So that freedom to play at that high level still allows you to compete at a very high level, whether it be in ranked or otherwise. Obviously, you guys were literally a goal away from qualifying with a pickup team of content creators. Obviously, the guys you're playing with also very good at the game in comparison to the general public, but it's just not the pro level. So, with that said, and kind of where this original idea came from for me to now that we're finally getting to this question,
Yeah.
what to you are the major differences between playing at the high level, professional, high level ranked, and then casual? And I know that's going to be
So,
tough because you haven't
yeah,
played at that casual level ever, I think is a pretty safe assumption. Like, you pretty much started up the game and you're like, okay, I'm good at this. And then you just kept getting good.
it's hard to
So,
shut the brain off, I guess,
yeah.
like because I'm always like wired to like play at a fast pace,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that from my experience in my Road to Supersonic Legends series that uh, it's definitely way different to just be able to sit with a 100 boost in the middle of the field for about 20 seconds and not have the ball pass you once. Um, so for the casual players, like it's just so much slower, and you are free to move faster, but your mistakes won't be punished. Like that's why freestylers play that level, and Uh, maybe like not all freestylers like they don't purposely lose, but like if they play against better players and try the stuff they're gonna try, they're going to lose and rank derank to a point where the players won't be punished. So, for a casual level, there's just so much room for error. Um, for like Grand Champs and Supersonic Legends, compared to pro play, you'll be punished, but it won't be optimal punishment. You'll definitely you'll have people who bring the ball in and find breakaways and go for the ball. But those small margins of error will not suffice compared to pro. One mistake in pro and you're dead.
Mm,
Um, it's like the reason why you talk about rotations not being a thing in pro level is because of how good their boost management is, and I think that's something that's overshadowed when discussed by casters and analysts. Is that the reason why what they can always turn wherever they are is because they're always sitting with 60 to 80 boost in the middle of the field, and no one understands that that's actually happening. Like we're getting better viewership of boost amounts on the screen because of the new plugins and different
right.
mods you can see like where the numbers are changing. You see players who are landing from an aerial with 20 to 30 boosts, so they can use that boost to either get a corner very quickly and efficiently, or they can use the 20 and 30 to move around the field and get back up to 60 within 3 to 5 seconds.
Yep.
And there they go. They landed from an aerial. They're already back in play. They're monitoring the basically min maxing the game. Like if you talk about speedrunning strats,
Yeah.
basically you're trying to get from point A to point B as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible. And the pros are just so good at it that you need to be there for thousands of hours and practice with a team before you can even get to understand why it plays so differently and why it's so efficient.
Because I've been exposed to it a few times. Back when I used to grind, I dabbled in it, but it was never to the extent until I started playing in tournaments and playing obviously with other pros. Because
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to obviously from being a caster get to know, and some guys will be like, yeah, I'm okay to lose some MMR today, and it's like, all right, sick. And that's been my exposure to it. So I've gotten the opportunities to play against high level, and it's just the big things from my perspective that I always notice. Boost management is crazy. A lot of it does have to do with not only the efficiency of it. So, like you said, they land from an aerial, they've got 20, 30 boost. They understand that there is literally no reason for me to go for this midfield boost unless it is A, to deny it from the other team so we can continue to pressure, or to get a quick turnaround so they can continue to pressure themselves. But you're never going to see these guys, like in casuals, rotating back to their back left corner, back right corner, and completely removing themselves from the play, completely denying the pressure that they have. It's now a free clear. And then you're also putting that on a 10-second timer. And it's like, it's
And
just
and the
so
yeah.
wasteful. It's so
And
inefficient.
the pros know when a clear is going to come
Yeah.
like 3 to 5 seconds before it. So that's when they will go for their back corner
Mm-hmm.
early and start denying pressure. They see it. They see it happening 3 touches before. And whether or not they admit it or not, or if they even know it's happening, their brain is so used to the motion of play that they're doing it automatically. And that's why there's players that you talk about who are like mechanics, who are brains and stuff. Like when you compare those two, the people who are brains know that they're thinking about it and they're thinking about it ahead of time, maybe 1 or 2 steps even further. But the mechanics players are still through muscle memory of how rotations happen. They're gonna know when those things are gonna happen ahead of time, and that's how you react and become a mechanical master and have those touches that you have because you know what's gonna come next.
It's just, it's so glaringly different from trying to avoid throwing the shade,
I
but
mean,
from
it's
people
just
from people in
it,
comments, from people on Reddit, from Twitch chat, whatever it is, just they don't know what it's like. And most people, like the average, are plat diamond. It is leagues behind what it is like at the pro level. So unless you've been exposed to it, it is very hard to grasp the concept of what it's like to constantly never have boost, to always be pressured. You make a somewhat okay touch and that thing is slammed into the back of your net. Like, you are punished for everything. And unless you've been exposed to it, I don't think people will ever have a true understanding of what it's like. But at the same time, that's the exciting thing about it as well, is there's just so much left out there for them to discover. And if those people who are passionate about it and do want to, I guess, get on that grind per se, to achieve that level of RLCS or RLRS of the past, it is things that you look forward to because it allows you to continue to elevate your game. So for you personally, I mean, is there any things that I mean, like, you're a competitive dude. I mean, I'm sure you miss competing, but is there any things, like, other than just playing at a high level? Are there things that you miss about the pro scene itself, playing at, because I know you can just queue for six mans if you really want to, but I mean, six mans is kind of dead right now. So
I was demoted to rank X because I'm not in RLCS. So.
I kind of get it, but still.
I mean, rank X and rank S, like, they don't really queue anymore. But yeah, the one thing I do miss is just playing at such an efficient level, and you don't get that feeling from RLCS. I mean, from ranked. You get it from RLCS and scrims. So would I love to have a team where I can scrim and be playing perfectly? Yes, it would be great. There are sacrifices I have to make.
Now you got to play with my terrible self in custom maps.
Hey,
and you're
honestly,
just
honestly, that's just fun time. I just love vibing with you guys.
It's a different style of game, but it's we all have to sweat because Lethamyr with unlimited boost is not a good time. But
and I will admit, I will be the first to admit, and I don't really talk about it too often because mental health is a thing that isn't really taboo anymore. But you got to stay as a positive person when you're in the community all the time, and there are days where I just don't feel great. And with my schedule, I have to be on top of it and record ahead of time and stay ahead. But there are some days where I will admit, even on big videos, I've not felt the greatest, and I can tell in my voice that I'm not feeling the greatest, and it's tough. That's a hard part as well. Is you should know that too. Is that if you're not feeling great and you need to stream every day and keep on top of things, it's just sometimes you just don't know how to. I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't really explain it that well, but it's a non-stop thing, and you basically show who you are all the time, and that's not something that can be said for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it carries back to the last thing we are talking about. If YouTube is a career you want to take, I mean, the best thing you can do is be your genuine self because people are going to recognize it very quickly. I'm very candid on my stream. Anybody who's a regular here knows that. I don't really hide much. It's gotten me in trouble sometimes, but that's why the people that do enjoy me and do, stay with me are here. A lot of them do like that candid response. They like that, straightforward blue collar kind of style. So I think it's something that's definitely underrated, especially with all the cancel culture and everything else that comes along with it. But I mean, even Chrome, who's in chat, and shout outs to Chrome, obviously legendary coach for the Rocket League scene with Space Station currently, talks about, the management of nerves, not only as a pro player, but just in general. If you come in on an off day, right, your voice isn't where you want it to be, you're just kind of feeling a little under, maybe you're a little bit tired. The nerves that can come with that as well is where you feel like you're doing lesser and you put more pressure on yourself. And that even applies to, like you said, whether you're a casual or a top level player, right? If you're at the highest level, the nerves that come with playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars and a spot so you can continue to do this as a job is also similar to you. This video came out at its number 10.
I mean, I'll mention one example of you're a streamer, right? And you have a player who's trash talking you in chat.
I think so. Yeah.
And I mean, whatever, it happens. And they
I think we're live. Chad, is
this
thing on?
I'm diamond, and I will destroy you in a 1v1, right? And then they always, if you actually do accept and you do play them, usually what happens is they'll say, "I usually play better than this." That's what they'll say.
Oh
right?
Yeah,
you get that all the time.
Of course they have excuses.
I usually play, or you run into someone in casuals and they say, "Oh, I'm not even playing anywhere close to how I play." That's the effect of nerves right there, and people don't realize that those nerves lower your gameplay. So if you're seeing pros who are nervous and still popping off like that, they're all nervous. Don't
put it in perspective, if I hop into a 2v2 game after not playing for 4 months and people on my team are playing worse because they just see a title, I can't imagine what it's like for the high level, because you guys are actually good. I am not. But people get nervous even playing with me, and I am trash at this game. But it's because of the notoriety or the fact that, we have 200 people plus in here who want to sit and listen to talk. It's just us talking. It's two people literally talking, and people are still here invested, willing to listen to this. So that does translate into that nerves of what you hold to, I guess, a higher regard per se. So,
yeah, and I feel like, maybe if I went back into pro, I think that
I would yell at you so much.
Yeah, it'd be stupid. It would be a stupid
I would drive to Canada and just lock you to a chair or something
I
and
mean,
be like, sit down and
besides
make
it being a
content. Shut up.
stupid,
Like,
besides it being a stupid move,
yeah.
I'm more so saying that I think I would have a better arsenal mentally, to be able to play at a pro level.
Yeah.
And I think that, through my Highland dancing and performing in front of a stage and
True.
stuff,
True.
that already prepared me for competitive. But it's nowhere at the level of like having 60,000 people in RLCS league play watch you.
On
Um,
stage or.
and
Whew.
yeah, and some days you just lose the ability to play Rocket League during an important moment. You're just like, what am I doing? What am I even playing? How am I doing this? Where am I supposed to go? And you sit in this moment where you're under pressure for like a minute in a game, and you're like, where do I go right now? I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And that happens so often with people. Like back in the day, you're just like, what am I?
It definitely feels like Rocket League at the highest level compared to a lot of other games is true autopilot sometimes. Like you're just doing the motions because there's so much going on so fast that I can understand where like you all of a sudden have that, I guess, out of body experience where you're like, wait, what am I doing? What's
Yeah,
happening?
and it's almost, I would say,
And
a
by
pro is
that time
lying
you get scored on. Like that's when you get
a,
scored on too.
a pro is lying if they've never experienced it. Every single one has. I can almost guarantee it. Because I would say that I'm not saying I'm the most level-headed person, but as far as like, um, nerves go, I wouldn't say I'm that affected by it. But
Hmm.
still, it gets to you. Like it gets to you whenever you're you're on the main stage and your hands are cold, and you're not playing at your home in your warm, comfy bed and got your monitor up on the screen. You've got hundreds of thousands of people watching online, and then hundreds of people standing in front of you in front of a stage that are all cheering, possibly for the other team. You're like, why am I even here? The other team hates. I mean, the audience hates me. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff goes into how you feel and how you're gonna perform, and you have to be able to ignore that all and really zone in. And I've talked to Kronovi and Rizzo so far in that series of Get to Know a Pro, and both of them had different ways of how they dealt with hyping up for a tournament or getting prepared. And Kronovi said that he really likes white noise to sort of like hone in on what he's doing. So it's interesting to see how people deal with it differently, but everyone definitely experiences nerves and pressure.
What was your kind of like clear mind? Like if you're in those moments and you're kind of getting overtaken by the nerves or the pressure or whatever, did you have anything from obviously your previous experiences of doing Highland dancing and stuff? Did you have any way to like mentally clear it?
Heavy metal
Attaboy, let's go.
and moving my thumbs around a lot. That's why I do that thing. Every video you'll see me flick my ball cam back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's a that's a settle my nerves
It's like
sort
a
of thing.
nervous tick,
And
sure.
it's not a nervous tick anymore, but it's so habituated that I just do it now, that it doesn't even matter how much I tell myself not to just flick that back and forth. It doesn't feel comfortable for my thumb not to be doing that when I'm sitting still. It's like almost like a restless knee or restless leg syndrome
Mm-hmm.
in Rocket League with my thumb. So that's it sounds a little weird, but it is true.
No, I mean a lot of people do it. I mean, you watch and go look at streams like that kickoff time when you're sitting there waiting. The amount of people that just tap their ball cam, just toggle it on and off over and over again, is
Yep.
pretty common. It's super common.
And especially in those situations on stage where season 4 was the worst for RLCS World Championships. It was like ice cold in that arena,
Yeah.
and like if you weren't moving your fingers before, you get iced very, very quickly. So that was part of it, is just keeping the thumbs moving, moving your fingers through the navigation menus, just doing whatever you can while they sit there paused for like what it felt like 10 or 20 minutes, but it's usually quite long. It's usually significant. It's like 2 to 3 minutes sitting there while they fill for everybody production wise and stuff. At the end of the day, esports is entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
and that comes first, I would say. I don't know. People talk about integrity, but without the entertainment industry, there is no real reason to have the competition, other than the pure wanting to win. But people want to watch people want to win. You know what I mean? People want to watch other people want to win. It sounds weird, but that's kind of what that people are there for: the nerves and the pressure.
At the end of the day, man, like I remember when E League was showing after E League 2018 when TSM won and
Yeah.
or Weedham Girls, and then they showed Turbo and like how distraught he was because Turbo is obviously a true competitor. The guy cares about winning a lot because
Yeah.
Rocket League's kind of his everything. If you guys haven't watched the Score Esports' article or video on him, highly recommend go and watch it. But I talk about in the interview that I did with them about how there were so many people that were mad that the E League camera crew were showing his his emotions and his reaction to losing and how distraught he was. And I'm like, as a fan of the guy, I want to see that. That makes me feel for him. That makes me more passionate about him. That makes me more of a fan. Like it draws me. I relate to that struggle of being a competitor from when I played, travel soccer or football, depending on where you come from in the world, literally everywhere else. But I understand what it is to be at that very high. No, it's not for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's, for state, it's for a big tournament, and just falling short. I know that hardship. I've been there in a different scenario, and I relate to that, and getting to see that emotion makes me even bigger fan. And like the amount of people that were just like, how dare E-League show that, blah, blah. I'm like, that's good entertainment. I don't care what side you're on, whether you think it's bad or like the fact that you're talking about it means E-League did their job.
Yeah.
And I agree that yes, it's competitive. There's a lot of integrity that you talk about, but at the same time, like at the end of the day, the reason why it gets the money that it does, the reason why you pull sponsorships is it's the entertainment industry. It's there to be a business and make money. And storylines like that, Turbo falling short, is going to be a big one, especially when the guy's as goated as he is on the sticks. So
yeah, that's true. It's all entertainment, and we're part of that industry. We sign contracts and stuff to be there and perform, and it's the same thing with like even competitive sports or pool or snooker, any of those games. Like they sign a contract to be on television, to be there to compete, and you have to accept that they're going to use you as entertainment. So I totally understand why they would do that, and I don't know why people would be upset. Like I see people like they don't realize that that's entertainment for those people as well. The people who are complaining about Turbo being followed, like it's all part of the viewership experience. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you see like Sparrowhawk in chat says, I hate seeing the people that just lost. If I see them cry, then I want to cry. That's because you care, man. You're invested.
Yeah.
That's a good emotion to have because you feel for his hardship that he's going through as well. It's the same reason when you watch a really good movie and they play that music and you're just like, oh boy, here comes the waterworks, like you're invested into it. It's good entertainment. So I think it provides the same level of experience. So, I mean, transitioning now to kind of that next step. I mean, what is the next step? I mean, where do you think Rocket League's going? What do you think you're doing? Like, do you have plans? I've got some Q&As that I've been like jotting down in the middle of this from chat that we'll definitely ask you at the end, and there's some really good ones in there too. But what do you think is next for Rocket League? And then what do you think is next for you other than a freaking 1,000 more maps? Cause I know you're never going to stop with that.
Well, for Rocket League, I genuinely think they will do something about custom maps. It's just a matter of what. I think that's coming next. It would be crazy for a company who's built on customizable stuff to not bring that into Rocket League, but I'm hopeful that they'll bring it back, but you never know what they're going to do. I think they don't want to change the core gameplay of the game, but I think there's an opportunity there to make some core changes to how the game performs, how it looks, talk about how we're really moving into the next gen of consoles and engines that we really needed to start discussing. By we, I don't mean we because I don't work for them, but like they really need to start just thinking about how we're going to move this to the next generation of engines and sort of stay relevant, because I feel like we're getting to the point where we might fall off again when there are games that come around that feel better just because there's this genre is just being tapped into, and I think there could be a lot more. Like we've seen other games where there's like a ball and a player and abilities and stuff.
Yep.
Some of them haven't popped off. Some of them did. Some of them did well, and people are trying to basically tap into that Rocket League-esque vibe in a better look, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think Rocket League definitely needs to make some changes if they want to stay competitive in this industry. I think they definitely have the ability to do it. It's just a matter of whether they will put the effort in to do it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's no better partnership than what they signed on. Big Daddy Epic. You want someone to update that engine, you've got the right people because they made it. So, yeah, definitely staying with the times and staying relevant is going to be a tough one. Obviously, rebuilding that physics engine and transferring everything over is obviously something that's very difficult because we saw the differences between obviously start PC and Rocket League, and
Yeah.
obviously that's a big jump in what they were doing. But with the experience and the backing that they have now, it makes me very confident that they're capable of it,
Yep.
and also excited for it. It's just they have to go about doing it. Um, Obviously, things are adjusting in there, and otherwise, for you personally, is there, other than custom maps, like if we get rid of the aspect of what you and I have been focusing on for probably the past 4 years, which is why is there no custom maps? Why is there no workshop stuff? Because this has been something
Yep.
that's been requested, I think, more heavily than anything else in the game. Is there something you think that is still lacking, or like one particular thing that you're like, why isn't this here? For me, it's Club Q. Club Q has been mine. Do you have a different one?
Um, Not necessarily. I think Club Q is definitely a huge part. I honestly, I just find myself playing the game less unless it's for content. Like it's become my job now where like I feel like I have to, keep up with it. Um, but I've been really starting to like jumping into other games
Mm-hmm.
and play those more and become more of a creator and just, have fun with stuff. And I feel like I've done my due diligence to say that's, within the realm of being appropriate. But I don't know, like the game just feels like it's lost its edge for me as far as like excitement, and I'm not sure why that is. It's probably me, like it's probably my own fault, but I don't know.
Without going into another 2 hour tangent about our frustrations and our feelings on certain things and certain topics, and just gonna avoid it altogether,
Yeah.
because probably for the
Like I
better.
just find myself playing it less. Is all I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
yeah,
So
and myself as well. And there's, I think, very clear cut reasons as to why. But I can also say that as someone who does play very minimally, the things that keep me coming back are your maps. Like legitimately, I probably would have stopped playing Rocket League a long time ago if it wasn't for the diversity and the spice of life that your maps bring. It's a new and different experience every single map you play, and I wish, we both wish, that it was super accessible to everybody. Like I dream of the day where I can boot up Rocket League stream with you guys that are watching and just say, "Hey, I hosted a lobby, join in," and it's one of your maps, and we just get to play it, and it's that easy. If they don't have it, downloads it, good to go.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I dream of that day because that's the day that Rocket League is the biggest game in the world. Straight up.
I think they're just missing out on all that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I just I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's It's definitely a frustration of mine, but I'm learning to just go with the flow and do my thing because I don't want to be on Rocket League's bad side, which I think I've already done. I mean, I changed the title of my last video about my custom map because I think it was too much, but I said I didn't like Rocket League's like Halloween event, so I made my own,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, it's true. I didn't like it, so I made a map of my own, but um, I know they're working on stuff and we all know they're working on stuff. They're not just
Yep.
sitting there, with their feet up on the dash or whatever and just letting the money flow in. They're definitely doing something. We just don't know what. And I hope that it's for the better and not just continued, you know, cosmetics that no one cares about. And I'm honestly, fingers crossed. I'm actually I don't even want to say it, honestly. I don't want a certain thing to get banned because it's limiting how much money they make, which I could see it happening, and I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yep.
Uh, Surprised it hasn't been banned,
Yep.
but right now it's very important for how we get custom apps working, so it's kind of scary, and I hope that they don't do that. But uh,
I think they're in kind of like a dilemma of like they get rid of that, they're gonna have a huge outcry of frustrations from others, and like then that product has to determine, do they remove that feature despite how convenient it is for a lot of people.
or do they include those features themselves and
Right.
redo it? And yeah, and that's honestly, if I was Bake's mod, which I'm sure they already have, I'm not even sure what I'm saying, but like if I was Bake's mod and if I was Rocket League, I would be chatting amongst ourselves to port over what they have
Yeah.
from that program into the game.
Yep. How can they implement it? And obviously that's a whole different coding nightmare.
Yeah,
with the
and that's a
spaghetti
whole other
code that
story
is
as well.
Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine that they're using, it's Unreal Engine 3, is like the way that that game has been built is pretty spaghetti code, and it's not even their fault. Just because things have been so much better optimized for 4 and 5, and like the amount of APK stuff that they've brought in is just like so convenient, where it's just drag and drop, and it's like, oh, this network feature that you wanted, it's done, and you're like, wait, what? You're like, yeah, that's it. You just click and drag this, and it's done, and that just doesn't exist for Unreal Engine 3. So there's a lot of things that to get those features in, like some of the custom stuff that Bacchusma does for training with the D-pad and everything, like things like that are
Yep.
are a nightmare for what they're trying to accomplish. So yeah, it's building from the ground up kind of situation is going to be a tough one. It'll be interesting to see how that progresses. But I think because I've taken up so much of your time, let's transition to some of these questions from chat because I think there's a lot of really good ones, and
Sure.
those are probably also going to be elongated. The first one I saw was from Barside that I really liked. Has there ever been a map that you've started to make that you just couldn't due to limitations or ideas that you've had to put away because you're just like, I just can't do this. Like I don't either A, have the manpower, or B, the like the limitations of the game and stuff I just can't do.
Um, I would say that there are some that just doesn't feel like possible that I really want to do. Like Snake to do it well would be very, very hard, and I've wanted to do that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I always like back in the day, I didn't really care. I mean, I cared, but I didn't really like think about it, is what I mean. I didn't really think about optimizations,
Mm-hmm.
and I've definitely started to do that a little more. Like think about optimizing a map to work for any console or I mean anyone's computer basically. Like because obviously with my rendering and stuff, I want to be able to make the maps as fast as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why I have a computer that can render it really quickly. But I don't think there's been a map that I've really went like, okay, I'm gonna completely abandon this and never come back. I feel like it's just a matter of manpower. Like I have so many maps like Prop Hunt number 2 that are just sitting there waiting to be done. And I'm definitely like I've definitely streamlined my process. Like Prop Hunt 1 with the castle. To make Prop Hunt 2, I take the Prop Hunt 1, save a new copy called Prop Hunt 2, and then I reuse all of the code and just replace the props. Like just take the props and I had offsets for the props and stuff, but so I don't think there's like any maps where nowadays like financially I can pay other people. I'm lucky that I can do that. Like for Among Us, I think that's out of my realm of possibility on my own
Yeah.
to invest that much time. But Guidex very, very smart with like on-screen overlays and all that stuff that I haven't really explored yet because I mostly focus on building.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that now I'd like to look into partnerships with people and use that as a way of doing what was usually to me impossible and now a possibility.
Have
So,
you considered hiring those guys as like more of a consistent thing?
well,
At,
that's what my sister's doing,
right.
right? So I I don't know if I would say that I would hire others outside my own realm yet, just because I don't know how long this whole map making thing's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm never sure where we're gonna go,
Right.
and I'm taking one step at a time. I would definitely consider it. And Guidec really wants to do this full time, like some sort of
Right.
game development. But I would need to know that financially I can cover for that many people as a company,
Right.
and it's not easy to throw away, not throw away. You know what I mean? Like just like give away money where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
spent so
100%.
much time to build it up.
Because that's the scary thing too that I don't think you really talk about all that much is like, yes, you're making all these maps, yes, you're putting all this time and effort into it, but there's a very good chance that all that time and effort and energy that you've put in could flop. It could be a bad video, and all of a sudden, like this this map that you just made that's supposed to be a banger video that allows you to keep paying your bills, all of a sudden is not
Oh,
well
I've
received.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely made a loss on a lot of my maps because
Yeah.
I also, to save time, I buy a lot of assets as well
Mm-hmm.
for maps, like licensed assets, which makes sense. I don't see myself building, entire streets or villages on my own time. So that's yeah. So I've definitely made a lot of maps at a loss, but um, what I take it is as an investment. People like what I do in the community, so I get rewarded from that, and I like seeing people appreciate what I do. That I don't even care about losing the money on the map. It's more for providing a fun way to play this game differently. which is why I've said many times that if Rocket League was to just put all my maps in the game and not give me a single dime, I would not care. I would think that would be so cool. Like I have no interest in making money off of this venture outside of my own content. It's like it's like I want to create unique content, so I make maps to create unique content, but I'm not making the map to try and make money off of that map. The map is just a way of having a fun way to play with my friends.
Hmm.
So that's, yeah, I guess that's where I'm at.
It's just crazy because we had this conversation a long time ago when like Steam Workshop stuff was implemented at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And we were always so confused of why, like, when Steam Workshop maps got popular, why Psyonix didn't like incentivize or do competitions or whatever to get that community to make more. And then they take the best one, they pay for the rights of it, even though they own them. But like it'd be smart for Psyonix to sign a deal with the person who made it and say like, hey, here's some money because we really enjoy the map that you made, even though it's on our IP, we own it anyway. But like, here's some money, it incentivizes them, they go and make another one, another one,
Yeah.
another one, and just keeps doing that. It's like we didn't know why that never came to be because Valve has been doing that for years for Counter-Strike. I mean, their entire spectator client, all their maps that get updated, stuff like Cobblestone stuff, are community made. Everything is pretty much community made. And like, yes, Valve has a lot more involvement than what people see. They think it is all the community, but Valve is very smart about the way they handle that and their esports scene.
Well, they want
Um,
people to be proud of their community,
yeah,
right?
yeah, but they want people to incentivize it, and then, like,
Yeah.
it's something that what I don't understand is like why for the longest time it has not happened when we've seen so many other games and platforms
Well, I will
already
tell you
do it.
one thing. I will tell you one thing. Well, I'll ask you a question first to preface it. How many times do you think Rocket League has acknowledged my custom maps?
Not enough.
Just to give you a number, see if you can get it.
Has acknowledged them.
Yes, has made a mention on Twitter, retweeted one, or
Zero.
or
Big goose egg.
it's one actually.
Oh wow, that's
And
shocking.
that one time was pinball, which was my third map ever. Um, it's an interesting concept because I don't know what changed because I was getting in really good chats with Rocket League through DMs about it. They're like, "Oh, we love this. This is so cool. Can we share it on Twitter?" And then I don't know what happened, but ever since I started making more and more, I haven't gotten a single like I didn't reach out to them to go, "Hey, do you want to talk about my pinball map because it's kind of cool?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if like it's a community outlash that hey, they're not doing enough or people don't think they're doing enough. I'm not sure. And a lot of a lot of people keep saying that like, hey, they don't want to mention you anymore because you're doing more maps than they are. And I don't know if that's like true. I don't know if like maybe they've just been working on a way to do custom apps for so long that they're just waiting for this big explosion of just, hey, we made it happen. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what they're doing. And I've tried talking to Epic Games. I've tried talking to Rocket League, Psyonix. None of them can give me an answer. They always point me to someone else about what their
Hmm.
plans are, and no one seems to give me an answer. So I don't know. It's either they all know or none of them know. so I don't know.
It sucks, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
Next question. Next map is Among Us, and then you got a Christmas one you said coming up, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about the event, but there's an event
Mm-hmm.
that is going to happen, and I want to create like I've learned how to sculpt in Blender now, where you can basically take a plane and like sculpt it, and it basically pulls up the, in any direction. You can basically make hills, valleys.
That's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, so I'm starting to sculpt, and basically I want to take like an ice, like the ice from Rocket League, like that shiny ice that's in, I think it's in my dungeon map and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I'm basically going to combine that with the snow texture from Rocket League and basically create an entire snowy area and then have a race through it with like little gumdrops as like the border for the race or something. I
That's
don't know.
adorable.
I'm still thinking about it, how to do it, but I think it's going to be a bunch of pros racing in it, which is going to be really sick to see like pros have to completely be out of their, their comfort zone.
Racing in Rocket League's a weird one, man. The physics were not made for it, so.
Yeah, definitely not. And yeah, I'll have to like really think about how I want to do boost management and boost pads and actually have like a full system. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
even have the system that GLH worked on a long time ago, where boost pads can be converted to use their system of picking up boost and having a respawn time, but not give boost and actually just give a rumble power up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with that in mind, we can specifically use only boots, only swaps. Like we can do that way, and it's through a plugin. and it really it matters about how much we want to go into the detail of that. I think plugins is one thing I've never really had experience with. I'm not good with Python, so if I could invest some free time into learning that, I think I could blow up my abilities in Rocket League, like maps and stuff. Like do what they did with Tron, which is coming out tomorrow. Well, it'll be out by the time this video's out. But yeah, Tron and Rocket League, like Froyo's nuts. Like there's so many crazy creators that really need to be acknowledged, and without my videos and other people's videos about them, they just kind of sit there with like less than 1,000 subscribers on the Steam Workshop because no one cares anymore about the Steam Workshop because there's no updates to it.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. It's insane.
This one's a little bit more personal. We talked about kind of the mental side of stuff, but how did you and how do you deal with like mass hate targeting? For example, like when VODs were sub only. Obviously, I went through this stuff too, but how do you handle it other than like listen to metal like I do?
I mean, you're always gonna get people who either A, don't like that you're successful, B, don't like who you are,
For no reason.
or for no reason. Well,
So
can't say no
for some,
reason.
for some, there is just literally no reason. They just don't like you, whether it be
Yeah.
personality wise or otherwise. Like they don't know you. Some people just don't like
Well,
you.
that is the reason, though. Like, I think there's always a reason. I mean, some people are just very negative, but I, I, I definitely am more outspoken about haters and stuff. But I think it's funny. Like, I'm not actually salty about people who say stuff because I know there's just so many more people that are supportive. And being so the thing is that because I am good at the game, there are a lot of people who are like, this guy just plays with these people because they're worse, and he wants to show off that he's winning and stuff. And it's like, no, I'm just playing the game, man, just having fun with my friends, and I think that's it's hard to deal with sometimes because there are just people on Reddit that I think I've definitely separated myself from esports as well, which has helped me a lot because
Yeah.
I think I appear to be sweaty in ranked and stuff, but I'm really just vibing, and my autopilot is just very, very like my brain
Yeah.
moves way too fast
Like
and stuff.
I look at it. Imagine if like Musty was a former pro and like the flack he would be getting, you know. But because he's
Yeah,
not, he's able to just kind of do his thing.
and even he gets shit.
Yeah.
To be fair, like he's not even a competitive player, and people are like, "Oh, he's ass, man. He's so bad," and it's like he's not even try. Like he says these things in his videos, like, "Oh, can I go pro?" and whatever, but like he's like it would be such a stupid move to go pro. Like he's using it as a move, right? He's
Dude,
very
we did the math on like how much some of the like because I'll probably do that for a video surprise chat, but like I did a conversation in chat about like how much some of these YouTubers were making, the guys that were hitting like 1 million and
oh,
stuff,
I mean, you go
and
on
it
social media, you'll know.
and it blew their minds, and I was just like, yep, and that's every month, and he's 18 or 19, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yep.
I mean, I won't be the one to say the numbers, but if you want to throw a number out there, I could easily agree with you on like
I can tell you Musty's probably making anywhere from 100 to 130,000 a month.
yep, yeah, in US for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. And that's crazy because US to Canadian for me is 1.33%,
Yep.
or 1.33, yeah, 33% more.
Yep.
And hey, I mean, regardless, the grind is real to get there, and it's not for everybody. Like I said, to get there, it's incredible.
Massive
Like
credit to
the
what he
fact that
got.
they're able to, the fact that Musty and Sunless are up there and able to do that much for the community,
Mm-hmm.
they deserve to be paid that much.
Yep. I
And
mean, it's the benefit of being the 0.01%, you know? Not many people make it to 1 million subs. It's a very rare thing based upon how many people are on YouTube. It's the same thing like right now, like by averaging like 2 to 400 viewers on Twitch like I do, I'm in 0.01% of the top of, I'm in the top
yep.
0.01% of Twitch, which is crazy because there is tens of thousands of people that stream to no viewers.
But I think also the problem is that a large portion of that is inflated due to the fact that people want easy money,
Mm-hmm.
and there are just so many people who just go on Twitch streams, they stream for 1 or 2 viewers, they get mad, salty, they don't have a good personality for talking with people, they don't have the drive to keep going, and they'll lash out and get upset that some other people are earning money in a platform they're trying to do the same with, and I think the motives are different because Musty started off YouTube for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sunless started YouTube off for fun. You started off for fun. I did for fun on the side, not for the intent of making money. Money came as a secondary thing, And I think that's like you get rewarded for just enjoying yourself, being a good person, being fun to be around, being invested in your community, and for sure, Musty, Sunless, John, all those millionaires right now, like as far as millionaire viewers, subs, I mean, well, maybe not, maybe the other one as well, but um,
Why not
like
both?
why not both? Um, they deserve it,
Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
Um, I actually have a problem with my eyes right now, where I have bags on my eyes and I can't get rid of them because I've just spent countless 4 a.m. nights for months on end to try and get where I am, and for me to be able to do pro grind, scrim, uh, stream even so when I was streaming and doing all that stuff and getting videos out every night and editing until like midnight. I would try to get as much rest as I could, but I'd be up waiting for the render with my older computers for an hour or two, and then
Wendy, shut up.
upload.
I do not have that problem. You be quiet.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
Yeah.
I don't think it was always a fun time. When I was living it, I felt fine, but looking back, I don't think I would live that way again. Doing all of it.
So that's perfect for the next question. Frood, what's next? What's the long term vision? Whether it be in other games, or are you going to branch out? I know you're starting to do that. I think. Do you have a second channel that you've made so far?
I mean, I haven't posted on it since Euro Cup, which I won't talk about that
Yeah.
disaster, but
Yeah. We'll move on from that.
we'll
But
brush past that one.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Death Fruit's my guy, man. He's a cool guy. He's always invested in what
yeah,
I'm up to and
yeah.
stuff. And
Frood's
it's
a homie.
cool to see him ask me a question about that. I think Rocket League's still my main thing. I still love, like you said, you love custom maps. I love custom map stuff. It's always fun.
Hmm.
I get giddy when I'm making a map and thinking of an idea and be like, holy crap, this will be so fun to play and actually have it work. Um, I'm like always excited to make new stuff, and that's what keeps me invested in the game right now. So I mean, I don't see myself transitioning out of Rocket League for any time soon, but I'd love to see where my creativity could go in other games in the future for sure.
Hey man, great stuff. I think this is the last one because I think it's a really good way to put like a final note on it. What advice would you give to your younger self when you began like content creation? If you could take your sage knowledge of now, 500,000 subs, crushing it, making money, back then, what would it be? And that applies to, I assume, a lot of people who will watch this that also aspire to do.
I think, well, I'd like to tackle this in two parts. I think one, I would have liked to start earlier. I mean, that's always the case though.
Yep.
I think I would have told myself right when I started becoming a pro, like, you got to get on YouTube. Um, Back when the game was growing, and grow with the community, grow with the game as it's becoming bigger. So that's number one. Number two, just stay positive. I think I definitely got myself in a very depressive state a lot, and I never showed it. And maybe in my responses to tweets and stuff, you could definitely tell that I wasn't in the best of moods. And I've definitely apologized for all that, and I own up to it because I know that we're all human. We're all trying to be the best that we can, and it sometimes isn't possible when you're showing yourself all the time, showing your true colors all the time. Is I am trying to just be the best person I can for the community and for who I am and who I want to be. And I have a lot to owe to you specifically and other people that as friends and people that I've been able to chat with. I'm getting emotional about it even here, but people. I don't know. Like my girlfriend's a huge supporter, and honestly, it's sorry, one second. It's just it's been hard for sure. Like it's not an easy job, and I think a lot of people.
Take your time, man.
It's been a lot of stress for sure. Sorry.
Nah, man, you're good.
I think I bottle it in a lot, and it doesn't come out a lot, but I don't know. I'm very thankful for everything, and I'm thankful for you because you've been a good friend in Rocket League as well. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just bottled up all the time, and it's just hard sometimes. You're holding it in there. I'm watching you on stream. I'm surprised because you're usually pretty,
I'm dead. I'm dead inside, man. It's fine.
Yeah, I know, but like it's hard, man, to do this 24/7 and live it. sometimes it hits you.
Well,
And
I think this year, especially with all the stuff that's been going on, I've been trying to make more active efforts to reach out and kind of make myself available for people.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
like F dot recently, like I talked about at the beginning of my stream today, like F dot, was frustrated about something, and it's like I have stuff I need to get done, but I'm gonna reach out to him and just make sure that he's okay.
Yeah.
Just to talk it out, just to be like, hey man, like I'm here. And the same thing I think applies to you, and it goes both ways. Like obviously, because we're so caught up, we lose sight of all the things that are going on
Yeah.
and have a hard time accepting like, yeah, we're still human. Yes, we still
There's
have
just so
emotions.
much
So
going on
there's
behind the
things going
scenes,
on.
man.
And it gets keeps getting buried down deep, just over and over and over again until the point where it's just like, you see that animosity come through in a tweet or, whatever else, or you just don't think as clearly because there's just so much pressure all the time. And it only gets bigger the bigger you get. Like, yeah, for me personally, like I'm nowhere near your guys' levels. I understand the stress of, paying bills and that, but you have expectations of you at a much higher level than I ever will because
And for myself,
there's
like my
so
own
many people,
standards.
right? Like there's so many people that rely on you to keep pumping out content. Plus you want to keep improving, and it's like, how do you keep pushing the bar when the bar keeps getting higher
And
and
that's why I
higher
got
and higher,
emotional,
right?
just because like I
Yeah.
have so much to thank everybody else for keep convincing me to keep going, because
Yeah.
there's been so many times where I just say, what am I doing? Like even
it's
lately,
an everyday wake up occurrence, man. Like, what am I doing
it
today,
is like
man?
I
Like,
just
what am
like,
I?
what am I even doing this
Yeah.
for? And I have to just keep reminding myself that it's for the people that support me and that want to see me keep doing what I'm doing. And I've had so many comments like during COVID as well that like people are just saying, like, you're keeping my day interesting every day. Like I never know what you're gonna post. It's always gonna be something new, something different, something interesting, and it it doesn't really hit me when I'm reading the single message, but after thinking about just how many people have said that, it's crazy to think that there's that many people out there that are just like, holy, like this guy just keeps posting new stuff, and it's become a full-time thing now. And like I said, like it hits me sometimes, like those moments right there where I'm just like, how did I get here? Like, what did I do? I don't even know how I got here. I don't even know what I did. Like, I just thinking back to making 70 plus maps now. I'm past 70. It's just a number that I never would have. I think that's like going back to the same question. It's like I would have told myself at the start, you're gonna do something that no one has done before in Rocket League. You just got to get there and keep pushing for it, because you're gonna want to give up a lot, even after milestones of 10,000 subs, 100,000 subs, 500,000 subs. You've still said someday, like to yourself, that what am I doing this for? And it's for the people that watch and for the people that you know find solace in your content, and you bring happiness to people who are struggling with whatever they're struggling with. And I want to be the realest person I can be to people, like on my persona. And that's why you can even tell in some videos where I'm not feeling the greatest, people even mention in the comments, they're like, even though Leth wasn't feeling the best that day, I still love the video and stuff like that. Like, and I don't like to hide it. Like, I try to just be whoever I am that day. And I think that's why some people might take me as someone who gets salty or something, or like if I'm not feeling great, like I'll just
Right.
be me. Like I'm not being salty. It's just I'm not in a good mood, and I'm trying to still entertain and stuff. And maybe, yeah, it'd be smarter if I just took a day off. But it's hard because then I just have two videos to do for the next day and stuff. And I try to stay ahead, and it's hard for sure.
It's it's a lot more than I bargained for, and makes me upset that I didn't get you on the camera, man. But no,
You know
no,
what?
it's I got a
I'm
clickbait now.
shirtless
I made
and
Lethamyr cry, blah blah. Like it's gonna be a great
okay.
clickbait. I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding. No, it's gonna
Uh,
be a.
no, I
It's
mean I'm not I'm an emotional person, I guess. I don't mind showing it either, because
right.
that little moment comes from the appreciation from even the people. Like, I see
Yep.
so many names in my chat, like Sparrow and Death
Mm-hmm.
and Wendy, your mods as well.
Yep.
They're supportive, and it's insane to see. And Two is there. Um,
Yep.
just so many people that are always there for me, and I take it for granted sometimes. I
Yeah,
would say,
man.
oh, and Zulu. I didn't see you there, Zulu.
Dude,
You
there's
don't have to, there's just more
yeah,
and more that keep
it's
coming out.
crazy.
Like,
Like
wow.
it's crazy how like so many people associate. Like obviously you and I hang and talk and stuff all the time, and you see that same things apply to the communities that get brought in, the people that watch the videos or consume the content on Twitch. Like it translates over quite a bit. So it is awesome to see that. Obviously, I know you put a lot of strain and stress on yourself and have gotten to the point, and it is good to go back and reflect because, again, prime example, let go of the RLCS. The response that I got hit me hard, like really hard, and I'm not going to talk about it in detail, otherwise I'm going to end up
watched
crying.
it, man. You made me cry.
Yeah, dude, it was a tough one, man. And obviously, positive vibes, into the next chapter, like we're just getting started kind of situation. But until you really take a step back and see that overwhelming amount of support, you don't really notice, even though there's hundreds of comments and this and that.
There's silent supporters.
Yeah, you just don't understand how big of an impact and how much of a reach you actually have until something drastic like that happens. So it is good to realize
right now,
nah, man, you're good. It's just gonna go on YouTube. It's fine.
Just permanently there.
Yeah, it's on the internet. You can't get rid of it forever. It's probably been clipped. It's already got like 6 different mirrors. Like, you're fine, dude.
Yeah, it is hard. And it's hard. Everyone knows it's hard. And everyone that's in it knows it's hard. And a lot of people think it's just like, turn on the camera, turn on your stream, make money. It's not. It's
a lot of
connections. It's connections. It's drive. It's grind. And it is hard. That's all I'm going to say. Just if you want to get into it, you have to be ready for letdowns. You have to be ready for pick-me-ups. You have to be ready for everything. The ups and downs, the roller coaster of emotions, like I just showed. That's like honestly the first time that I've let out the bottle a little bit, like maybe just twisted the cap. When you do the little fizz,
the carbonation. He let out some of the carbonation.
The carbonation, the crimination, whatever you want to call it. I let it out a little bit. You have to stay strong, and that's part of it as well. And I have to show that my appreciation for the people who really, really support me and everything that I do, and that includes you as well.
Oh yeah, man, always here for you. I mean, you know that we talk and have those heart-to-hearts, and then we're like, hey, man, I got to go to bed. And then we end up finding ways, and you're like, I'm just going to whisper. And I'm like, bro, you're going to get in trouble. But,
yeah,
you make it count. So
you think he's joking, but we did literally have that was literally like 2 weeks ago.
It's how it goes, man. Try to get you in trouble with your significant other because she's trying to sleep just because we can't,
Yeah.
But, no, seriously, man, appreciate you taking the time to sit and talk. This went way longer than I expected it to, but I think it was it's going to be an interesting watch for those that I want to make these a regular thing, whether it be just you and I talking and hanging out, or, I do it with other people. Like, I think it's needed. I don't think people really get to see the behind the scenes of what goes into it. And everybody's got their own story, even though there may be similarities. I think it's important to educate as well as, kind of dive into the stuff that people don't really talk about. So seriously, man.
Sure.
Seriously, man, I appreciate it. I'd tell you to sell out, but I can almost guarantee everybody in here is only here because of you.
Oh no, it's
dude. I'm telling you, I go into Rocket League casuals, and people are like, "When are you making another video? When are you gonna do another Leth video?" It's crazy how big it's gotten for you, man. Like, seriously, nothing but love.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you as well. Thanks for having me, man. That was a lot of fun. Even though I embarrassed myself, but
shut up, dude. You're fine. Shut up.
Oh, it is what it is. All right, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, appreciate it, man. We'll catch you next time. Game soon, yeah?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, later, brother.
See ya.
See ya.